prowl. Shaka. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Heading out this morning to get some all-terrain tires and replace these spin on top of the grass tires. Alright, got a 9 o'clock appointment. Let's make our way there. Stuck in traffic as usual. Yeah, doggy. More construction, boys, more traffic jam. Got some new meat on the vehicle, so I'll show you that when I get back to the house. So meaty. Look at the meat. Meaty, meaty, meaty. So I'm actually painting the wheels. So they're not black, they are a graphite color. So there's a little bit of contrast between the center cap and the tire. And I'm putting 2 coats of paint and 2 coats of clear. Alright, so we have a wheel that currently looks like that. And when we get finished, we're going to have a wheel that looks like that. So obviously the first thing I typically do is loosen the lug nuts. But since this is a rear wheel drive and I have it in park, I'm going to actually raise the vehicle up first and get the wheel off the ground. That takes some of the stress off the lug nuts, and it's easier to actually loosen up the lug nuts, because I can tell you, the folks that put these tires on, they use the impact wrench and they really tighten them down. They probably over tighten them. So when we put these back on, we'll remedy that problem as well. So let's take a look under the vehicle at our jack points and see how we have this thing positioned. Alright, so I have my floor jack under here, and I'm going directly under the axle, and I have a jack stand under the axle there. Never mind that jack stand, it's just sitting there for beauty. This jack stand will hold up the axle in case the jack actually loses hydraulic pressure. So with that in mind, we have the tire about, I don't know, a half, 3/4 inch off the ground. So next thing we do is we'll pop the center cap and start loosening the lug nuts. Alright, let's pop the center cap off. Pretty easy. I use the same plastic trim tools that you use for interior stuff. Works very well on these, at least on these Ford Transit center caps. There's already a gap in here. You just insert it in the gap there, and usually just pull it ever so slightly, and they just snap onto the actual lug nuts on the wheel. So now that we've got our center cap off, I'm going to put this in the vehicle, keep it from getting scratched up, and we should be able to loosen these lug nuts. The other thing you'll notice too is this van is actually sitting on the hill. I wouldn't recommend doing this on the hill, but as you can see, I have a wheel chock under the front wheel, same side. I have a wheel chock on the front wheel on the passenger side, and a wheel chock on the passenger rear side. So I'm pretty safe as far as the vehicle rolling, and it is in park. So alright, the other thing that I did last night, knowing that I was going to pop these lug nuts off this morning, was I sprayed a little bit of penetrating fluid on the lug nuts, so hopefully they'll come off a little bit easier. Maybe not. I mean, the guy just really tightened these in my hand, bruised from yesterday. What kind of idiot does that? need a pipe. Alright, now that we got the wheel off the vehicle, we'll give it a good clean up. With some lint-free towels and some nice purple alcohol. And here, I'll show you why we're doing this a little bit later. I want to go up about 1 inch on the actual tire itself, and then cover the rim, or the wheel. Just get it good clean. These are pretty clean because I have done some work on these. Alright, I'm going to put my mask on. Got my sandpaper 320 grit, and these wheels are so odd shaped and so many holes. I'm going to use it like this instead of having a sanding block. It's just easier to get into all the crevices. Alright, I'm going to take a little bit of compressed air, blow out. Clean the wheel and the tire. We're going to do some more maths. Like we did in the last video. Probably remember in geometry class or one of those math classes. It's a little bit too windy today, but we'll do this anyhow. If you use enough straight lines, you can make a curve. So we're going to do that with our tape. So we're just going to take these bits and pieces of tape and line them up and stick them to each other all around the wheel. Like such. And the shorter and the more pieces you use, the better curve you'll get. And we'll just go around the complete wheel as such. So you'll see a lot of times on YouTube folks talking about using index cards around here, and I'll tell you why it doesn't work on all wheels and tires, and it definitely doesn't work for these. This is the equivalent to an index card, and it just will not seat in between the wheel and the tire. My guess is if you have any tire with any sidewall whatsoever, it will be difficult to use this. So this is why I'm using the tried and true method here. That works on any tire and wheel. So let's continue. Alright, now that we have it taped around, I'm just going to run these scissors really lightly in the crevice there to make sure all the tape is seated. I'm just going to run back it behind the tire here. And start seating it up under the tape. Doesn't have to be perfect at this point. And don't worry about the blow over there. We'll come back and fix that. Double it up under there. So now I'm just going to put some perpendicular strips here to hold the plastic down. So I can get my spray paint can in there nicely. I'm using this Duplicolor wheel paint. It's a graphite color. 10 minutes between coats, and then I'll put 2 coats of that, and I'll put 2 coats of clear coat, which is 10 minutes between those 2 coats, and then we'll let it sit in the sun for about an hour to bake in. Now, get yourself one of these if you don't. It's a spray gun handle. A lot of times the blob mess that you get coming out of the nozzle of the spray can is because your finger or your thumb's overlapping. You get one of these guys and it just goes on over the top of the can. On your nozzle, it just has an opening in it. Turn your nozzle and it just snaps right on top of the can like that. You got a nice good leverage trigger here. So you want to make sure you shake your paint. Probably shake this for a good minute. Put on our gloves and our mask. And I'm going to try to spray with the wind. But if it's blowing back toward the house, I'm not going to be able to do it. So I like to spray with the wheel kind of propped up like this. This way I can roll the wheel around. And it's easier to spray. Spray cans just work better when the can's upright versus trying to spray with a can if the wheel was sitting flat on the ground. So, all right, let's shake a little bit more and then we'll start spraying. We'll do a tack coat on the first coat. Alright, that's our first coat. We'll let that dry for 10 minutes and we'll come back. Alright, we're ready for coat number 2, which is actually our... that dry, and then we'll come back and do our first coat of clear. We're gonna put 2 coats of clear coat on, wait 10 minutes between each coat. Same process, shake it up. Alright, that's our first coat of clear. Alright, we'll do our second coat of clear. I'm going to rotate just a little bit. Alright, we'll let that dry an hour and then we can install it back onto the vehicle. Alright, I've given that last coat of clear a little bit of drying time. Don't want to let it dry completely before we remove the tape. I just usually just cut into the plastic because it's blowing out here. And it's blowing. And that way I can pull it off the back. Not worry about touching the paint. There we go. Zero overspray, and now let's try to get our valve still. There we go. And we have a completed wheel in graphite color. 2 coats of paint, 2 coats of clear, and now we can put it back on the vehicle. Alright, we are back and we have a dry wheel, so let's put this baby on. Alright guys, comment down below if you like the new wheel color, or even if you don't like the wheel color. Let me know with a thumbs up or thumbs down. I think it looks pretty mean, pretty aggressive, especially with the beefier tires on there, so I like it. Alright guys, that'll do it for this video. Give me a big thumbs up if you like the content. Share the link with your friends. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. It really helps the channel out a lot. Click the bell for post notifications. You'll get notified of all new uploads, and you guys know what to do. Until next time, skill up and ride, van up and go.